Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We actually have they haven't finished yet. Everybody has not finished yet their round. We're actually watching Shintaro Ito playing right now in his round 4 match. He's playing this mill deck against what seems to be Malamar Mewtwo, which is actually probably the worst matchup for this deck. Have you ever did you have the chance to play this, Martin, at any point?
You mean Mill? Macago Mill?
Yes, Macargo Mill or the Mewtwo Malamar as well.
It
From the other
was,
side.
I tried it out once, but it's just the combination of like smooth over and all the stuff that's going on. It's just too big brain for me. You know, I prefer to stick to simple decks and have a streamlined game plan and
戻れるかな
approach. Um,
戻れるといい
but
お
yeah, the switch
で
up
もこの
seems
タ
to be
ーン
really
太もも
tough.
続きしないときつかったんだけど
See, actually, Shintaro does
Hold on.
not has his
このターン太ももできない
mic
と
on.
負けな
Maybe
ん
we
だ
can message him and make him notice that. I think there's also some problems regarding his game. Let's see where
Yes.
this go. But in any case, I was talking about Mill against Mewtwo Malamar because Mewtwo Malamar has the option of using Trevenant Dusknoir. Trevenant Dusknoir is a very good deck against Mill because every turn you're able to reduce the hand of your opponent, and the Mill deck requires a big hand each turn to be able to do something. So we see, actually, we're watching the game right now, and we're back 6-on-6 prizes. And we see this 120 damage from what I guess is the Aerodactyl GX, taking
Yes.
the first knockout of the game. So it's going to be quite of a grind for the opponent against Shintaro.
Yeah, that's true. Shintaro doesn't have a Macago setup just yet, so he's basically living off the top of his deck. But he has the ability from Zacian, the Intrepid Sword, to just advance his hand. But it's really tough to do that. Like, it really doesn't do anything if your hand gets just shuffled away, as you said. Yeah, I believe the game plan for Mewtwo is just you just try to mani them as often as possible in the early game and then disrupt their hand and hope they break. Otherwise, the matchup should be pretty tough. But if you can get down to like 2 prizes, then you can just grab an easy win with the X
Indeed.
attack from the Nagana the Guzzlord.
So we see the Mewtwo actually this turn. It's already, and also one thing to notice in this game is that there's only 11 cards in Shintaro's opponent deck. He probably needed some times to set up. If we see Chudadan is on the board, we weren't able to see what happened at the beginning, but I'm pretty sure we can understand that he used a lot of turns to stop, which meant a lot of card being drawn from his side.
It's Malamar, right? So
It's Malamar.
fine.
It's Malamar. It's always been. Finally, it's gonna go out, and we will not have to deal anymore with Malamar. Oh my god. You know, I'm not a fan of Malamar. I explained already in the past, but I'm just so happy it's finally gone. So actually, Shintaro this turn doesn't do anything. He
can just chill a little bit, right?
Yes, indeed. Well, there's 2 less energies on this Mewtwo. There's no Trevenant and Dusknoir yet. So it might happen.
Maybe it's priced for his opponent.
Yes, exactly. Usually they play 2 copies, but something may happen. It might have been lost. I don't know if something happened to it. But we see a Marnie, once again, hand disruption. That's the combo I was talking about. Every turn being able to control your opponent's hand, removing cards from them, it makes it a very good matchup against Mill deck. So he goes for a Chaotic Order GX. He flips his prizes, and then he draws 2 of them.
There were 2 Trevenant.
Exactly, there were 2 Trevenant and Dusknoirs.
Yikes.
As we hypothesized, it was the reason. So there's a Primate Wisdom from the Oranguru, and there's also a Reset Stamp from Shintaro Ito, which really? I'm not sure he wants to do right now, because that would just add cards to the opponent deck.
Yeah, I believe it's just Reset Stamp. Like, you can afford to play those kind of weird one-offs in Macago Mill, because Reset Stamp is a card that's really situationally useful for your game plan. Sometimes you need to slow your opponent down just a little bit, and yeah, sometimes since you can just search for the stamp with the smooth over, it sometimes can really pay off.
Even, for example, against Mirror, sometimes you may have the opportunity to win by resetting stamp your opponent with few cards in hand, a few cards in deck, and then mill them. So you might be able even to win. It's
Yeah,
a very
that's
interesting
true.
card, I think. But as well, we see that Shintaro is playing this version that does not play any Chinchino. And no Chinchino means that you will not be able to see many cards each turn. You will just, with the Macargo version, be able to see the cards you want. What do you think about these two different versions? Do you think the more cards, well, quantity over quality is better?
I think, yeah, I prefer the Chinchino mill a little bit because it seems like the Macago variant is a little bit more vulnerable to getting gusted up. And I believe with the rise of mill decks that we have seen in the last qualifier, people will start to include more gust effects without any conditions. And then if you just get your Macago gusted up and you only get 3 random cards every turn in the early game from the Intrepid sort, then it becomes really tough for Mill to do what they want because the combos are quite like the one-offs and stuff are really important, and if you're not able to search them out with smooth over, it becomes really tough really quick.
You said it right. It's very hard to line up with this deck. Sometimes the quality of getting the card you want is overshadowed by drawing many cards and eventually drawing the cards you need. We see Shintaro having some connection problem. Obviously, remember he's playing from Japan, and obviously he's probably playing with someone from the Western world. So that's gonna be very hard for him and his connection to keep up. But we see everything is going smoothly for now. So he decides to go for the Pokédoll this turn. Decides to put it at the bottom. He was probably looking, to do this fluffy pillow again. Does not have the slumbering forest.
Yeah, maybe he's just looking to resource management, maybe just set up his deck in a way where he can win on the next turn. But yeah, his opponent is only at 8 cards remaining, so I'm thinking that Shintaro is probably looking to close out the game on the next turn.
Yes, exactly. I think he should try to go for that Zacian and just, draw the cards.
Yeah, I
hopefully
think
draw what you want.
Yeah, that's the correct play probably, to just get some more cards in your hand, because you don't really have a great setup right now.
There we go.
That's exactly what he's going to do, yeah.
Decides to go for that. The Mary However, at this time, there is a Oranguru on the active and not a Pokédoll, and this Mewtwo even woke up from the Mary sleep. So I think Shintaro Ito here went for a bit of a risky play, but it might pay off. After all, we're talking about someone that is very well accomplished.
Yeah, he's obviously one of the best players the game has ever seen, right? So
exactly.
yeah, maybe he's a little bit vulnerable to Mani plus Nightwatch, but I currently don't know how many Manis his opponent plays. There are already 3 in the discard pile, so maybe his opponent is only playing 3. And he knows there won't be any more hint disruption.
Indeed. We're talking here about the runner-up of Worlds, Shintaro Ito, and he's playing this very, mill in the Western world here. It's been quite predominant. It's been quite annoying. But however, I think in Japan the deck is seen a bit differently than we're here, because here we're just used and we saw someone playing stall and we're like, oh my god, why is he playing stall? But instead, in Japan, I think they're more seen as a deck that are niche and rather aimed to win at a certain meta. So he's playing a very aristocratic deck. I would describe it as that.
Yeah, like when you look at the Japanese format especially, I think Mill is like not the first thing that comes to mind. Because the format is
best of one, exactly.
Yeah, and decking out your opponent is usually not a win condition that you can achieve in that time. But with the addition of Belelba and Bryson Man and the Macago GX attack, you're able to get there eventually. Then we see the tag call for the Mewtwo, the setting up for the GX attack from the Macago GX, which is in the discard pile, milling the last 3 cards, and just closing it out. We see there the last Mani gets milled, a little bit unfortunate.
There's the Mewtwo, and that's gonna be game. Very close game. Props to his opponent to keep head to such a massive player to play against. And there we go. Mill wins against Mewtwo Malamar, which is, as I said, probably one of the hardest matchups for the deck. He had Shoot Revenant Dusknoir in the prizes at the beginning, and I
And
think
he
that
also had
was
a slow start, right? The
yes,
Malamar player,
yeah, exactly.
and it still was really, really close in the end. So I think that speaks for the matchup.
Indeed, indeed. So we saw in just one round how much diversity there is actually in this tournament. You know, since it's an online tournament and people have not been testing much lately because there are no tournaments online. I mean, tournaments in real life. Soon, I think the meta is going to be much more diverse than in a normal tournament, which I'm very glad to see, obviously. So
yeah, I really enjoy it.
we thank you very much all for watching. I think this is actually we'll just have to wait for the next round. I don't know if any people from other from other matches are still playing. But in any case, we hope we will see you soon.
See ya.